In today's video, we're going to be taking an all-electric emoto bike and putting it up against a gas dirt bike. Today I'm joined with Briar Hansen, who's got years of riding experience and is going to be able to push these bikes to their limits. So Briar, how many years have you been riding dirt bikes?
Been riding my whole life, been racing for the past 10, 11 years now. Big fan of all things two wheels, power sports related.
Well, this bike right here next to me is the Eride Pro SS, and it has a 72-volt battery, a peak power of 12 kilowatts, 19-inch wheels, front and rear, 220-millimeter brake rotors, and we're going to go see what this bike will do compared to that dirt bike. What dirt bike do you have in front of you?
This is my Beta 350 RR Race Edition. Been racing it for the past year now. Traditional style wheels, 21 in the front, 19 in the rear, also available in an 18. I've done some tasteful race upgrades like a grip seat, hand guards, and then some other hidden race mods, but it gets the job done for me.
So he's got a few hidden race mods in there. I think that bike's a little bit quicker than this one because this is bone stock, but it will still go between 50 and 60 miles an hour. What's your top speed on that bike?
With the gearing out of the box, typically you can do 80 to 90 depending on what you're feeling that day.
That bike might do 80 or 90, but I have a feeling it costs just a little bit more because of that. This bike only costs $48.99. What does that bike cost?
This one comes in at $10,999.
So you're looking at a little under $5,000 and about $11,000 for that bike. I'm excited to see how these bikes do. Let's go put them to the test so we can give you guys some feedback. Okay, we're gonna put this Eride Pro SS emoto bike head to head with this Beta 350 gas bike in a top speed test and see which one reaches top speed first. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Pelted me with rocks.
Ah.
That was a pretty close match. I don't know what you thought from your angle, but that was much closer than I was expecting. I thought I was going to be just showered with rocks, but it hung with you for quite a while.
Yeah, the torque is insane.
And that's the nice thing. You're over there having to shift gears and work the clutch, and all I got to do is just twist the throttle.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's experience to keep going and not just, tap out first gear, second gear.
That bike has the top speed that this bike doesn't, but the acceleration in this one is really quick because you're not having to spend the time off the throttle.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go on to the next test. Okay, now let's talk about the weight of these emoto bikes. Most of the bikes in the emoto category weigh anywhere from 120 pounds to 150 pounds. This bike behind me weighs 139 pounds. This is the Eride Pro SS. On these emoto bikes, most of your weight comes from your battery and your motor. Your weight savings comes from an aluminum frame. So the bikes are weighted perfectly, as well as a lot less than a gas bike. So they're effortless to ride and easy to throw around. Okay,
so as far as the weight goes on this bike, the factory advertisement of the weight's 242. With gas, we're probably right around, I'd say 255, 260. So this has got about 100 pounds on the moto bikes. The difference in torque and the horsepower, that goes a long way. The name of the game is the power to weight ratio and what's actually usable power. Okay, that's it as far as the weight goes on the Beta and the emoto. Let's go ahead and move on.
3, 2, 1. 110 emoto lap time in 3, 2, 1. so powdery, such soft dirt, especially for those stock tires. Oh, he's sending it. Down the home stretch to the final turn. 116, 119, 120, 31, 10 seconds. 10-second difference. 120, 31, 10-second difference. I expected there to be like a full 30-second difference.
I went for it.
Okay, let's talk about the preventative and periodic maintenance of the emoto bikes. They're pretty basic to work on. It doesn't matter what your experience is, your skill level, you can learn how to maintain these bikes. Some of the most important things are going to be related to your battery and cold weather. So if you live in an area that's cold, you're not going to want to store your battery with a low charge out in the freezing temperatures. You're also not going to want to store your battery in extreme heat. Mild, normal climate, normal temperatures is fine for your battery storage. As far as periodic maintenance, you're going to have a belt or a gearbox that has oil in it that's going to need to be changed. Other than that, it's consumable items like brake pads, fork seals, tires, tubes, very basic stuff. So after each ride, it's very important that you check all of your nuts and bolts to make sure nothing's loose. Inspect your brake pads to see if they need to be replaced. Check the tire pressure in your front and rear tire, as well as your fork seals. Other than that, the bike is pretty maintenance free.
So the gas that we're running, it's the 91 octane ethanol free. I want to say it's about $4.50 a gallon. It's just pump gas, nothing fancy, but it just makes sure, you know, it's a healthy, clean startup every time. As far as the oil goes, it is on the pricey side. It's about $20 a quart. It's 100% synthetic. It just helps everything mesh and communicate better inside the motor. Luckily, we can reuse the air filter for, you know, so long depending on what chemicals we're using. So that's something we just wash out and put back in. That's the major expense, you know, 10 hours between oil changes, sometimes 15. You know, for some people that's a weekend. For others, that's like one summer. And so it can be anywhere from, I'd say, you know, $50 a service to, you know, maybe 100 a month, something like that. For me, it's almost every weekend sometimes it feels like. So it can add up, or you can, you know, procrastinate as much as you want.
So the one great thing about the emotos is you can put it in the back of a truck, back of an SUV. We've even put them in the back seats of cars. If you have a trunk, just lay your back seat down. You're not going to spill any oil. You're not going to have smelly gas spilling in your car. If you don't own a truck, you can still ride. I like to just plant my foot, wheelie it up, rest the front wheel on there, and you can either grab under the seat or grab the swing arm. I like to just stand, set the bike in. You can put your kickstand down, let it stand there while you get up in the truck. You can just grab it, walk to the front, tie it down. So we just use a traditional dirt bike strap rather than a ratchet strap, and it has a soft tie at the top so it doesn't scratch your bars. You can just loop it right around the handlebars, hook it back to the hook, and then take the bottom down to the hook in your truck. Just pull them down part way, so that way you're not blowing a fork seal or putting too much pressure on your front forks, and it shouldn't go anywhere. Okay, now we've unstrapped our bike. We're gonna walk it back and unload it. You can walk the bike to the back of the truck, get it close to the end. Go ahead and put your kickstand down, so the bike will just stay there by itself. You can hop down. And this isn't easy to do on a gas bike because they're so much heavier. But you can just grab the bike, pull it out of the back of the truck, and just let it drop. Much easier to do that on one of these emotos than a gas bike because of the size and the weight difference. Let's move on to the gas bike.
Okay, so first thing, I grab my ramp out of the truck, set it up. I like to have my stand kind of as a step stool or like a safety blanket to step up on there, push the bike forward. The other option would be to just ride the bike up and make sure you stay straight. I prefer to ride my bike up. It's just kind of quicker. I've been doing it that way for a long time. I'm typically loading in a van, so I'm like half the height of that, so the risk is a little bit lower from a van or a trailer versus a truck. The safest option would be to have a buddy give you a push up. Make sure you're not going to roll backwards and have the bike fall on top of you. Okay, let's grab the bike and let's show you how to load it.
It's compensating. He makes it look easy. Oh, you're coming off.
Oh, 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 oh. Did you get that?
Not a scratch on it.
Nope. Oh, that's not the first.
Oh,
So-
I saw it going, but not soon enough to be able to get you to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you always see people do and you never think it's going to happen to you.
But it's real.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
You've loaded a bike hundreds, if not thousands of times.
Oh yeah.
And someone who's trying to decide, do I get a big bike or a gas bike or an emoto? They're going to do the same thing. There's a real
Yep.
good chance.
Yep, just don't get antsy about unloading your truck. Just take your time and do it right.
All right, let's go grab the next one. Even with your years of riding experience and all the seat time you have racing dirt bikes, did the emoto disappoint?
Absolutely not. What I found today is I liked pushing that and kind of finding the limit, finding that fun zone, and kind of riding the line of, what I can jump, what I can't jump, and just trying to see if I can go faster and faster and longer, and that's what I was fond of.
I don't know that you can really go wrong. It's not that one is better than the other. Both complement each other. And I feel like for a lot of people who wouldn't just jump straight to a dirt bike, they're okay to get on an emoto bike. Doesn't matter their skill level, they're going to have a great time. Whether the emoto is a good way to introduce you to the dirt bike world, or if you're a veteran seasoned rider, I think you're going to have a good time on either bike. And as far as ease of riding, the emoto bike, there's just no clutch, no gears. I was watching you send it off of huge gaps, doubles, and also watching you do stuff that anybody could get on and have a good time.
Yeah, and you're going to have those days where you want to load up the bike and truck it out to the desert or to the track. But there's other days where, you could almost get away with riding from your backyard, depending on where you live, throwing it in the SUV with the family, ripping it around even the backyard with some logs and rocks. I think there's a place for both, absolutely.
I agree.
As far as just the general noise, obviously I can't ride this in most backyards, whereas this the neighbors won't even know you're out there unless you're throwing up dust, and so you can get away with a lot on that, as long as you're being respectful and you're not on the streets. But even just some side dirt trails would be fantastic on this.
Yeah, most of the time people don't even know you're there. There's so many places you can ride these things. You can get creative. If you guys enjoyed this video today, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and keep an eye out for our next video that we're going to be releasing. Thanks again for watching.